Hello, and welcome to our final Creating Connections panel of 2020. My name is Shanna Bowie. I am the Art Center manager at Destiny Art Center. And we did it! We made it to the end of this year, everybody. And we are very happy to bring to you our final conversation and our essential work series. Tonight, we're going to focus on a project that our Destiny Arts Youth Performance Company has been doing called The Black Hole. Before we get started, first, I want to acknowledge that Destiny sits on a lonely land. That is literally the ground that we walk on, and we always want to acknowledge it. And we are going to start off with the same thing we do every single time we meet at Destiny, a meditation that will be led by one of our young people. Rose, would you like to lead us in meditation?
Yes. Okay, so everybody get in a position you're comfortable. Sit up straight and take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth, and gently close your eyes. Now just breathe at your own pace and settle into the meditation. Think about how we're landing in this space of art, of collaboration, and of healing. Land in this moment, in this virtual space that has been created. Take a deep breath in through your nose and release it out through your mouth. Again, in through your nose and out through your mouth. And just sit in the silence for a moment. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Release it out through your mouth. One more in through your nose. Out through your mouth. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes.
Thank you so much. Rose will be joining us a little bit later as a panelist. But now I want to invite Rashidi Omari, who is not just the co-director of our Destiny Arts Youth Performance Company, but also one of the many, many collaborators on this project. Can you tell us a little bit about Black Hole?
Yes, The Black Hole is a project that was created, well, it was probably a brainchild of years in the making. Sarah Crowell and Bamuthi Sarah had been wanting to work with Bamuthi for a while. And when they finally got together, he had the idea of looking into folks who had died under the age of 30, who lived in the East Bay area. And it was more about the process for him. He wanted to really document how we came up with the show and also what we learned in that time. Some of the ideas that came out of it is, how do we honor those who have passed? How do we learn how to grieve, and how do we uplift each other when it's time to climb? So that's something that was kind of rolling through that whole process as we were working on that. There was a lot of folks involved. We had Bamuthi, we had the Destiny Arts Youth Performance Company, we had the Elders Project, we had Ariel in there, we had all these different components that just made for some rich work. And we were going to do it live, but then, COVID hit, so we had to pivot. And Sarah Crowell was like, let's make a movie. And that's what we did. Yeah. Oh, you're muted. You're muted, Shanna.
Thank you. I also want to invite Sarah on camera. And I know, beyond the physical people that made this project happen, there were a lot of people behind the scenes. So Sarah, could you talk a little bit about some of the folks who made it happen behind the scenes?
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Shanna, for being such a fabulous hostess. You always are amazing. And Rashidi for taking the reins. Some of you know that I've been at Destiny for 30 years and my last day is this Friday. Spirit is calling me elsewhere. We just don't know where that is. That said, Rashidi talked about the fact that this piece had started off being the brain heart child of Marc Bamuthi Joseph, who now is an incredible member of the Kennedy Center team. And he is an incredible spoken word artist. He innovated Youth Speaks. He was one of the founders there from San Francisco. So we were so honored to be able to collaborate with him. And like Rashidi said, when COVID hit and we had this big, very well-funded show, like probably our biggest show to date in the 27 years that I've been co-creating work with young people and professional artists, we were like, oh, we have a filmmaker on this team, and you're going to meet him a little bit later, Yoram Savion, the brilliant and amazing Yo.
Yes.
So we'll get to meet him a little bit later. But I called him, and I called Bamuthi, and I called Rashidi, and I called our executive director at Destiny. I said, let's make this movie. And everybody was yes. How amazing is that? And also the people that funded the project were like, yeah, let's do this. They were super supportive. So I just want to shout those folks out. I'm going to share my screen and just shout out the folks that have funded us. This is the image on the poster that doesn't have a location on it yet, but we printed the posters because we know that this film is coming out. It hasn't come out yet. We're actually deep in the making of it, and we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later. But the seed money came from the William and Flora Hewlett Foundation, and you'll see there Hewlett 50 Arts Commission. Just big ups and shout out to Hewlett 50. They're basically commissioning well-known, renowned artists like Bamuthi to work with community-based organizations to make work, powerful, enduring work. And that's really what we're about to do. Even more enduring than it would have been maybe if we had done it on stage. Then there's the Kenneth Raynon Foundation, incredible partners, and they have done some really powerful work with gathering folks who are artists on that project to support them post-COVID. And I've been in those workshops and teams, really incredible support network, the MAP Fund, the Phyllis Wattis Foundation, who also has supported us in the past, Doris Duke Foundation, National Endowment for the Arts, California Arts Council, Dance USA, and the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation. I just wanted to shout out the folks that have supported this project. And I really wanted to shout out the fact that these are not just foundations. Yes, they are that. They're human beings investing in other human beings, making powerful art that has social impact. So just thank you, and thank you again to all of you.
All right. Thank you, Sarah, for that. And before we get started with the discussion, because we're just doing a lot of like talk, we also want to show you a little bit of what this has been like, and give you a little tease, little something from the Black Hole show. So if we can go to the video.
Confession.
Together and unified. We definitely got it. Yeah, within the community.
Ladies, what's up, ladies? Y'all doing all right?
Yeah.
All right, be safe out here. When I first started working with young people, they were in high school, and I looked like their super cool older cousin. 20 years later, they're still in high school, and I look like the guy that their dad hangs out with when he thinks him and his friends are still cool.
Getting older is mostly dope, except those days when I wander around the house looking for misplaced time, wondering where the time went. This is a song for young ghosts in transition, a melody to ride out to, embedded in the muscle and the movement and the manner of some youth and some OGs who love them. A way to honor some Bay Area cats who died too soon. A way to say goodbye to a town in transition. A right in the now. A confession. I'm not really good at old people. The fragility in reflection, the required patience, the love and respect tempered by the weight of mortality, my own pattern of self-neglect or home. I respect both, but from a distance, I type these words. A pen's length would be too intimate, and Oakland is where I have grown older. A theory. My body is a halfway house for a ray of light. When I die, my energy returns to the universe that birthed it. And if I die encumbered, that weight leaves my light diminished. The trauma, the lies, the lack of forgiveness make my soul heavy. I want to be ready, Lord, want my soul to be light. This is a black hole with light at the center. Light, though death is at the center, a cosmic anomaly of infinite potential where no light can enter. This is a paradox, like tent cities and condos, like fathers burying daughters, out of order and in its time, a melody for young ghosts in the moment as they lay dying. Young people come to a point of destiny in the town, an evening of cosmic size surviving. We teach each other how to heal, hold each other when it's time to grieve, honor each other when it's time to pass, lift each other when it's time to climb.
So all that leads up to the black hole, what we're gonna do.
Wow. Okay. I feel like we need like a deep, collective deep breath after that.
Yes, yes. Let's do it. Everybody, let's actually do that.
Right,
Everybody take a breath in, breathing in, and breathe out. Yeah.
That was really lovely. And I think it speaks exactly to what Sarah was saying, powerful work. So what I would like to do is invite all of our panelists on screen so that y'all can meet the amazing team and just some of the folks who have touched this project. Hi, everybody. Wherever you are, come on screen. Thank you.
Yeah, for me, it's wild even being a part of it and watching it. It's kind of surreal. It's like we did that, we did that. Yeah. So thank you all for joining us. We want to start off by just going through all the panelists and introducing yourselves and your role. That was part of the Black Hole. How are you part of the Black Hole? And then one thing you took away from the experience. So your name, your role, one you took away. I'll call people out and then you can take it from there. I'll start with myself, Rashidi Omari. At the time, I was the co-director of the Destiny Arts Youth Performance Company. And right now I'm the director. So I was that and the head choreographer. So just, trying to help the youth with their dance moves and all that type of thing. And I will pass it to Sarah.
Right on. Oh, the passing of the torch has happened already. Yeah, my name is Sarah Crowell. I was the artistic director at Destiny Art Center, and on Friday, my title will change to Artistic Director Emeritus, which just means that I'm old and I did something for a long time. And as part of my role as part of the Black Hole was artistic direction, collaboration. Really, we called ourselves a creative team, and the creative team was huge with so many good minds, bodies, and hearts. And you're going to meet some of them right now. One thing I think I took away, that was, I think, Shanna, your question. One thing I took away from this process was just the beauty of community gathering to hold space for people to grieve in powerful ways, and that grieving actually is a portal, is an entryway into the divine if we hold it well in community.
Thank you, Sarah. And I totally forgot to talk about what I took away. I took away finding new freedom inside of boundaries. When boundaries hit and things forced us to change, we found new ways to continue to create. But thank you, Sarah. I'll pass it to Rose.
My name is Rose Hurd. I'm a member of the Destiny Arts Youth Performance Company. One thing that I took away from this project was a deeper understanding of how to create art that heals and how to hold that space and collaborate in creating that. So, yeah.
Thank you, Rose. Luthia.
Hi, my name is Luthia. I'm also a part of the Destiny Performance Company. And I think one thing that I took away was perseverance through just making new art when we can't all, with the new complications from the pandemic.
Thank you, Luthia. Kyla.
My name is Kyla Searle. I'm a Destiny alum, and I was initially a documentarian. I was writing about the process we were making, and then it's relevant to this conversation. I ended up being a producer on the film and screenwriter. So, that was one of the pivots. One of the things that I took away, there's just an infinite amount of stuff to talk about, but one thing is we all did 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, and 100 squats together on a regular basis. So I took like real strength I wouldn't have developed were it not for trying to impress a group of incredible young artists. So.
Thank you. That was great. Yeah.
I don't know why y'all let Rashidi talk y'all doing that.
And I'm saying not to toot my own horn, but I've been doing it still. It's been over a year every day. And recently I've gotten juiced. I added an extra 100 on everything. So I'm not bragging. Just, I got juiced. Thank you, Kyla. Dwayne.
Hi, my name is Dwayne. Also part of the Destiny Arts Youth Performance Company. And one thing that I took away out of many things was just like bringing, taking positivity, finding the light in things, because when I went into it, I thought it was going to be very like sad and depressing. It was sad and, but we we made so much light out of all of that. So I feel like that's like one of the biggest things I take it with me every day, every single moment.
Thank you, Dwayne. And I know you have to go at some point, so if you have to go, so jump off. Thanks for joining us. I believe he's in Atlanta. You're still in Atlanta? Say it again. You just got back? Okay. Well, good to see you. Thanks for hanging out. Brett.
Hi, good evening. My name is Brett Cook. I think of myself as a creative person. On the one hand, I kind of make objects. They might go in a museum or a gallery or on a street. And on the other extreme, I work with groups of people, like thousands of people, and I won't make anything. It'll be through kind of research practices or teaching practices or contemplative practices that other people make objects or ideas or new ways of being. So I have kind of been working with Bamu for a while. I live in the neighborhood of Destiny, and this project was a kind of a really great opportunity to connect with Destiny and all of you and Sarah and work with Bamu in this project that had me make objects, but was also a lot about the way that we collaborate and the way that we each bring our different kind of expertise and experience to make something that's greater than we can make by ourselves. And so part of what I took away from it is these relationships and these friendships. I mean, Destiny is literally around the corner from my studio. And I really didn't have any relationship before this in an intimate way. I mean, my kids went to summer camp, but in this way now all of us are like family. And so in a lot of ways, I don't think of it as over. I think of it still very much alive and active, and I'm just grateful for this as a catalyst to get it started.
Right. Thank you, Brett. I have to say, I miss talking to you on a regular basis. When I hear you talk, you always have me, take me to a place. You take me to a place, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Risa.
Hi, I'm Risa Jaroslow. I'm and director of the Elders Project at Destiny. One thing that I took away many things from this, but one thing was that Brett touched on this a little bit, but my appreciation of the value of collaboration was really went up some notches. Making the pivoting from this path we were going on and really changing direction. It put us all in this place of having to get comfortable with a lot of not knowing as we figured it out. And being able to do that with people who you really want to be working with and feel great with and trust was just amazing.
Thank you, Risa. I totally agree with you on that. Snaps all around, for real. And last but not least, of course, Yoram Savion. What's up?
What's up, everybody? Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here with everybody. So my name is Yoram Savion. I'm a film director. I directed this film. I'm trying to not get distracted by Brett's beautiful smile right now. And yeah, what did I take from this experience? I mean, I've been working with Destiny for what feels like forever, because Destiny was always part of the community that I was working with in Oakland. And this process reminded me of why and how I became an artist, how to truly be inspired by the leadership of young people, by the vision of young people. And I think, yeah, the moment that I think really marked my experience was marching into the streets with young people from Destiny that were, yeah, leading and organizing their community. And I think that really inspired me to keep pushing in the direction of what this has all been about, which is building community, healing, and inspiring people to really look at where we are and how we can get to a better place together.
Thanks, yo.
Thank you, everybody. I love all the answers and the responses. When Rashidi and I were thinking about what we wanted to ask the panel, we were like, okay, like obviously we're going to talk about COVID and how that shifted the project, but we also wanted to know, like, not just how it shifted for you in terms of having to deal with the impact, but how did things shift for you internally, like for you as an artist, as how you create? How did the not being able to be together in the same space shift how you think of creating art? And anybody can, oh, this is the part where anybody can talk, or I can like make you talk.
I can talk if no one else wants to. Personally, I've been at Destiny for most of my life, and I've been in company. This is my 5th year. And so I had a very strong idea of what the show was supposed to be in the time frame that it was supposed to be in, and like what everything was going to happen, what was going to happen around the show. And so when COVID happened and we were told that it was going to move into a film, I was really resistant at first and really upset that I wasn't going to have this thing that I had depended on for so many years. But it allowed me as an artist and as an activist to really like expand my idea of what this art that I'm making is supposed to be. And it allowed me to let go of that like ideal situation, which I think has made me a stronger artist and a stronger activist. So, yeah.
Anyone else?
I think sort of joining with Rose around that, I understand the resistance, and I think we had a global resistance to this change, right? Here's this pandemic that sends us all on a like global timeout, and artists especially were like, wait, what? Like and at Destiny, we're gatherers. We gather human beings in spaces and circles, and we gather them in audiences. We're professional gatherers. And so we had to completely pivot the way that things be, you know, as artists, as educators. And I think that the positive side of that is it completely gave us this 180 opportunity as creatives to do something different. I was like, wow, what? I mean, after I was like, oh, hell no, I was like, wow, what an amazing opportunity to also collaborate in this new way with this incredibly dynamic creative team of artists, both young and seasoned. You know, some of the young people are seasoned artists, like Rose has been seasoned at Destiny for most of her life. And it was this really powerful opportunity to see the way people shift. So to watch young people hold a camera while Yo, who is not only this incredible filmmaker, but also committed to youth development, be able to like hand the camera over to a young person and teach them these skills to stretch ourselves and stretch our imaginations as theater makers into pivoting our script into a screenplay. And we were doing that with all of the entire group, you know, many hours of like, well, how would this look on film? And then asking Yo what that would look like. And, you know, we did film shoots in a pool in a friend's house to the streets, many different streets in Oakland. And I got to know Oakland in this really intimate way too. It was this incredible opportunity to like both be in the streets and do our activism after George Floyd was murdered, and then create work out in the streets. And the weather was just everything for us, right? Like it was sunny, beautiful, warm. We only did these short, like we had to be creative. How do we do it without being able to go to the bathroom, with wearing masks? Like the creativity was just wrung out of the towel. It was extremely exciting. And still is, because we're still in the process of making the film.
Anyone else?
Similarly, like Rose, I was really sad when like everything happened, and like Sarah kind of told us that it was gonna be that the show wasn't gonna happen. It was my first year in company this past year, and I've seen the company shows at Laney like for the past 3 years before that, and I was like the first year I got in, I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, the show, it's so amazing, it's so beautiful, so many people go to see it. I'm just so excited. And so I really have this hope for it, and I really like performing too. I feel like it's a really special place. But I don't know, after we started the process and I kind of got over my fears and I guess sadness, it really expanded my horizons. And the main like goal that I feel like kept me going was like the idea of this movie being able to like show it to so many more people than a live show would reach. And like potentially this could reach like a really big audience all across the US. And I think that idea really excited me and made me think that our purpose could get spread and that destiny could get like noticed more.
I'm looking.
I'll say something.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so kind of responding to everybody, what's been said, I think connecting to what Sarah said, I think with everything that happened this year, I think May 25th, with the murder of George Floyd was the moment that kind of clicked everything into what we ended up doing. And what I mean by that is like, of course, the disruption of not being able to do the show at Laney was a huge part of it, the decision to even make a film. But I remember being in the first weeks of the shelter in place, and we were all, you know, meeting on Zoom and coming up with these ideas, but we're all stuck. We're like, we can't go outside, we can't film, we can't meet in person. And then all of a sudden it went from being stuck at home, not going outside, to all of us in the streets at the same time. And that was really such a huge shift, that after that, it was kind of, everything became streamlined. Like the mission was kind of laid before us and we just had to keep executing. And yeah, I'm still in awe. Like it still kind of feels surreal that we did all of this in the middle of this year. Like it seems surreal that we would have accomplished anything, but something this expansive on such a high level is just really impressive. And I think everybody that was a part of this is like family to me now, because it's like the connection was made on such a deeper level than anything that I had experienced before, you know? Like it's kind of like the people that stuck with you this year, you kind of will remember for the rest of your life type of vibe, you know? So because we were all of this, we were in this together this year, I feel like it's going to be something to look back on in a way that I think we can be proud, because we did the most with what we had in the moment, you know?
I mean, that's amazing, because I just wanted to take naps the whole year. Day naps.
You know, so speaking of that, yeah, you know, relax, trying to like, I guess you're saying self-care, you know what what that means, or you know what I'm saying? Wow, I cannot talk today. Give me a moment, everyone. For some reason, the words do not want to come out. All right, and now I'm back. But what changed for me, what shifted for me, is the way I heard the youth, the way I heard the voice of the youth. Like I always, you know, one who firmly believes that youth have a lot of power and they're going to help, you know, mold the future for sure. But, you know, they became superheroes for me in a lot of ways. You know, I was sitting at home, you know, with a, you know, pregnant partner and a son, and like, I can't go out in the streets because what if I bring something home, right? And then all of a sudden the youth are like, boom, we're kicking down doors. We are shouting out in the streets and shutting it down. Like so much so that at that protest that Shayla did, but at the end of it, Lauren, Kai, and I were like, we have to go. So we went and, you know, we're standing and with the people, because it was just like, it was the call, you know, like you're saying, yo, it's like that happened. We're all in the street, and then we just had to keep going because the momentum was there, the energy was there, the pressure and the what's that word? It's not intimacy, but the immediacy, the urgency. Thank you. Urgency, immediacy, all that was like, it was there. So we had to feel that with the people. So we had to go out and stand and just feel that energy. And so like I said, so what shifted for me is just the way I heard the voices of the youth. It just became very passionate and just strong. To you, Shannon.
I guess the next question is, and I feel like you kind of already answered a little bit of this, is like, why is it important that we continue to create? You know, I think many people understandably would, you know, it's this weird place where this series is called Essential Work. I don't know if people see what artists do as essential, except for the fact that everybody wants to sit and watch Netflix right now. And so then they understand the essentialness of that. But like, why is it important that we continue to create through this time and moving forward? And yeah. So that's the question. It's very. Anyone?
I know Brett has something to say about that. I can see the face.
No, actually, I was thinking I didn't have a strong thing. I was thinking it's so subjective that I think, you know, it's interesting to listen to all of your responses to the previous question, because it's like your own personal experience is how you responded to it. And I think in this moment, I think people have had different needs, that the project has served us all in different ways. So for some people, one of the cliches is artists are, you know, documentarians of the moment. And so by having this, having artists document the moments, you have a history of what has happened from our past that we can look back to for this kind of extraordinary moment. Then for other people, the self-care part of it, you know, I find the story that when I talk about Black Hole, the story I always tell is that it was so significant to have this excuse to have the students be scaffolded. That for me, that arguably one of the most significant parts of the project, that in the collapse of all their social networks and schools and even classes, like here was this mechanism that could be an opportunity for them still to be in relation. That was really significant. I mean, it was just apparent how important that was. And not just for them, but for all of us. You know, it became this kind of opportunity for all of us to be in family. So, and then for, the thing I was thinking about the last question that I'd end with, also for me, I don't feel like the project's over. Like they're still here. Like I'm moving. I just had to shoot a bunch of stuff. So I've been moving them this afternoon. Or the stuff is around, or I'm still, as is my practice, thinking about how I would tell this story in the future, and both with each other and them as products. So I think it's really more about, I'm interested in hearing all of these great artists and creative people here, what it is meant for you. Maybe what it's, in that way, it becomes almost like a mosaic I could learn from. Or just feel inspiration from, because I think for each of us it is such a array of, or at least for me, such an array of motives that I couldn't essentialize.
And Brett, like I wanted to, sorry Shannon, I wanted to make sure that the audience knew what Brett was talking about in terms of what he's moving around. These pieces of art that are dedicated to the 6 young people who passed from Oakland and before the age of 32. And there's these stunning portraits that he did on circular mirrored stages. And so that's, I think, what you're talking about, Brett. I don't know if you want to add something about that, but.
Yeah, I mean, the important part is I still very much feel like the project's alive. Whereas I think, I was invited with someone from company to do StoryCorps. And it was interesting when we did the StoryCorps, we talked about the black hole and our process and what it was like. And the person talked about what it had been like as an experience. And my response was like, yeah, I don't think it's over. Like I'm so much still imagining where they're going to live and how I still tell the story. And in other interviews or other places that I teach, like what has this project meant? So for me, it's not like a thing that I'm looking past on. I still am very much not as intimate as the way we were before, but something that's kind of alive in my consciousness.
I feel like that's a super interesting contrast of what it is to experience as a performing artist and what it is to experience this as a visual artist. Just wanted to mention that that contrast is evident, and of course this whole project is going to stay with us for the rest of our lives, but Brett, you have that physical memory with you still, but you still have to physically move around. And we've performed it, we've put it into this film. And I think that's just interesting. Anyway.
No, thanks, Rose. It is a very interesting way to look at it, because I didn't even see that until he was like, yeah, I have the movie. I was like, oh, I haven't even seen those things since, I don't know, July or something like that, So it's very interesting now that I'm like, oh, and you're with them, because they are, their whole energy, they are there. You did such a great job. You really called them there. And, I appreciate you for that. Thanks for really taking care of them. Thanks for, holding them down. Like, for real. I have an interesting question for Kyla, because you were documentarian and then you became producer. How was that shift for you? How was that change for you?
That's a great question, Rashidi. And I guess the first thing I just wanted to respond to the question about why is it important to keep doing this work? And I think that one of the things that brought up for me is I always have a hard time questioning, because I'm an artist. I don't question sometimes I'm like, is my work bad or something? I don't know. I don't question the importance of it. But I think part of what that question does for me is I think, okay, what is that work? What can be made visible by that question? And some of what we did together, I think some of what that work was on calling on each other, thinking about who became visible in our community to each other, because we could not stop doing this work. And so more and more people had to be brought into it, had to be invited into saying yes with us to what this was, right? Rose is a visual artist, and she coordinated visual art for this incredible action that we did. And in coordinating that, tapped a bunch of people to do that work with her, other artists to do that work. So the thing expands. That's what part of the work is. And then I think it made our community, you know, increasingly visible to all of us. I mean, I'm born and raised. My mom is one of the people Rose called, right? Because like we have this community, we have this network, we have this group that we've been raised in. And yeah, my role pivoted. I mean, really what happened, honestly, is I was documentarian on the project, right? And then we had this meeting, and Shayla Avery, who's one of the DAYPC company members, said, oh, I'm gonna like do a protest this weekend because I wanna have a mural at Berkeley High, and the administration isn't interested in that. So I wanna tie BLM action work to my high school because nobody's really talking about that. And I want this art, again, what is the work? What is the thing that allows us then to come together to make a change, to articulate ourselves? It's art, right? And then I just, you know, I went to Berkeley High, I messaged her after the meeting and I was like, how can I help? And I think that, you know, Shayla and my exchange around that was one of the first conversations that happened and took us in another direction. And then Yo and I talked about it, and you know, it kind of became just this following of the art. Yeah, and then I was the producer on the project, and I continue to be writing and working on it and all of that. And I mean, why is it important to continue doing the work? Maybe that was the question that was asked earlier. And it's just like, it just keeps coming. Like, it's a relationship you have, right? It's a relationship. It's something you're in a relationship with. I loved producing it. It put me into it in a different way, and allowed me to share things that I could do, and also be like, well, I've never done that, but for y'all I will, and I'll figure out how to do it. And I think we all did that. There's a real infinite spirit of generosity and trust in this group. And I think, like Yo said, you know, I trust these people completely.
Thank you. That's a very comprehensive answer. I appreciate that. I was like that saying, you know, every moment in your life has prepared you for this moment. It kind of like that kind of just kept happening. Every time it's like, oh, okay, we can do this. Oh, this is happening. Okay, we're gonna keep moving. And then the way started to be shown, and it's just, sometimes just can't fight it. You just don't want to fight it. All right, I'm done, Shanna. You got another question?
Well, I was just also wondering, Risa, if you could kind of talk about continuing to create in this time. And then also, I know like you're working in particular with elders. So, you know, folks who are particularly impacted with their ability to be out and be in space and be in community, but also a group who like needs community. It's very important. You know, I'm thinking about my own grandparents who are kind of all isolated in their areas right now. So what was it like to kind of work with the elders through this time?
Well, we had a much longer period of working together than anyone anticipated. Things, you know, we would have been finished for the season at the beginning of May. But that was just when everything was stopping, and so there was just a short period of time that we were out of contact, and then we started meeting regularly, initially on Zoom, and then we started working outdoors to prepare for finishing the filming in July. And I think that just first of all, continuing to be in contact, continuing to move together was just very, very important. for the elders. And I think there was a lot of excitement about the film when the decision was made to go that route. I think there was a lot of excitement and a lot of I mentioned before being in that place of not knowing, but kind of there was a thrill about it, you know, like everybody knew we were going to figure out how to do this. So I think it was very it helped sustain people through that period where everything, it felt like everything stopped, but keeping our work on the black hole going was really important for everyone. I wanted to say something about sort of the bigger question you asked about, why is this work essential? Why is not only making the black hole, but why is it essential for artists to do what they do? And this is, you know, and I think that as makers and as witnesses of art, we just activate our hearts and souls in ways that just don't happen any other way. And more than ever right now, that is, we need to be able to do that. I got an email from a friend recently who's a doctor, an infectious disease doctor, but a lover of dance and music. And he said, you know, art has the ability to contain nuance. And I thought that was really interesting to me, that all those tender inside, sometimes hard to get to places we find through the making and the witnessing of art. And need that so much right now. So I don't know, I just felt like I wanted to say that in the context of this conversation. Did I answer your question about the elders?
You did. I do want to point out, Sarah drops in the chat, no one got COVID while we were making this film. It's very important. I don't know if there were any like Tom Cruise yelling moments from anyone, but no one got COVID during the making of this.
That's kind of amazing, actually, that we managed that. So congratulations on that.
That's going in the credits for the film. We're just saying no one got COVID in the making of this film.
Yes.
We were also so safe. So just so anyone who's watching, no one got COVID because we were so safe.
Yeah, hand sanitizer, masks, social distance whenever possible. Most of the stuff was outside or very ventilated if it was inside a building.
And Rose was very helpful with that. Rose was like, those people are standing too close. Director, handle that.
Got a little crazy on the COVID.
but thank you, though.
We're grateful. Okay, we're grateful.
Rashidi, I kind of feel like I want you to ask the next question because you know.
Yeah. So I was looking on the social medias and I came across an article. I did not read the article, but the title of the article, and I'm probably not reciting the title the exact as how it is, how it was written. But it caught my attention, and the title was something around the likes of how do we see artists as workers and not as decoration? How do we see, we're talking about essential work, we're talking about what is important for our society, what is essential for our society, what do we truly need? And I'm one who believes that out of experience, out of my life, that having an art as an outlet or being able to turn to some kind of art to help me find my outlet has done like amazing work for my psyche and for my life. And I think you kind of touched on it, Shanna, like nowadays people are understanding, oh, it's important because I'm watching Netflix all day long. But how do we continue? How do, in the words of you as artists, you as people who, because we all as practitioners of art, we actually enjoy art as well. So we're not just about delivering something, but we can see the beauty in art around us. So how do we continue to keep this feeling of like art is essential, art is necessary? Like, schools are understanding it now. All these different places are trying to integrate art with their academia. So how do we continue this conversation? How do we continue this feeling? How do you continue this realization? That's my question to you all. It's a very small one.
We would like you in this panel to solve all the issues.
Okay.
I feel like as artists, we're creators. We are creating our visions and our minds of what we think needs to exist in our world. And I think at Destiny and with all the artists that we worked with, we're all very intentional with how we create our art and the art that we create and the message behind that art and how it's going to impact people. So we're not just creating a pretty little film that's going to be so fun. We're creating this like deep and emotional space of healing. And I don't think you could get this type of healing in any other way besides art. Because art makes it digestible and art makes it so that you're actually able to heal through the work and through experiencing the work. So I don't know if that was answering it, but there you go.
Yeah, you did. Any other brilliant minds want to jump on that?
So your question is about art as an essential work.
Yes.
Right. And I think that like when we think of essential work right now, it's like people who provide the food, people who provide the healthcare, people who are saving lives in ICU rooms. And I think, then I also expand to the parents who have multiple children in different rooms in their homes trying to continue to have an education. And can I get an amen from any parent that might be, right? And I'm like, oftentimes I weep for people who are in that position, who are like juggling so many things, and you never imagined having children in a vacuum. You imagine having them in community, and especially the folks who are on this call who have children. And I think art is saving the lives of young people right now. Destiny traditionally has many programs in many different schools, and we have programs at our site. And I know that it saves lives in terms of just having community. And then when you're alone in a home with your parents who are trying to work at the same time as you're trying to be in school, how art is saving the mental health of young people. Because if we didn't have that, besides Netflix, which is definitely a part of my statement, I just want to say the creativity on Netflix is bomb. Lovecraft Country, whoa, like just so many mind-blowing pieces of work are going, into, like, I'm artistically challenged all the time because of the art that's happening. But I think it's saving the lives of so many of us, and especially families with young people who are just trying, like, this is when they're supposed to be out and about. they're supposed to be connected with each other. How do we maintain connection? And I think that's essential, you know, like, yes, our physical well-being is important, but the wild imagination is also part of our well-being, right? Being connected with each other in meaningful ways is essential. So.
I mean, I technically I'm not a panelist, I'm a facilitator, but it really makes me think about, like, when we're talking about this, the work, so often people don't see the work. So often what people see is the product, the thing that is made at the end of the work. And so, you know, while this time has been extremely, extremely challenging, I think one of the beautiful things about it is it's kind of opened up the process. People see the process, people see what's happening. Like, because that parent is like in the next room or at the other end of the table when their kid is doing class, like, they're seeing the process. And, you know, I think it's removing some of the mystery, but also allowing people to see, taking a young person or even another adult, taking someone through this process of creating, facilitating that process for folks, and being engaged in it yourself. It's there's a power in the process. I'm not creating art with the young people that I'm working closely with. Like, I work with the Anti-Racism Task Force, but you know that we are creating something. We're creating a new framework for how to look at the world, and even that, I walk away from that process every time we meet feeling like fuller and more creative and like ready to take on the next thing. And so there's something like lovely about really being able to show that process and to like move people through it. So
yeah, speaking of this, someone else is going to talk. I don't want to cut anybody off, but thinking about the idea of being creative, right? For me, I move through life the way I do because of art. I look at situations and I don't get pigeonholed or stuck in like, I have to do it this way. It's like, how can I come at this situation from different angles? How do I, how do I navigate this? And the fact that I have been creative, the fact that I dance, the fact that I write poetry, the fact that I used to tell stories before, just out loud to myself, that helped me to move through life in a more creative way. So, I mean, that, like, it's like you're saying, people see the product, but like, I've been training for this product for over 40 years. and now here's the product that I've trained in all these different mediums and life choices and things to get to this thing that you see. Hearing we talking about creativity, that just sparked that idea. I've been thinking about that a lot. Is I am creative because I have been able to express myself artistically in all that I do.
I definitely agree with all that has been said, and I think as a student and as a person that is in one of those households where, I have more than, like, I have a sibling and I have parents and we're all stuck in the same home, and it was definitely chaos at first. During the summer, I think it really helped me not drown in social media and in the screens that were always in front of me and that are still very prevalent because that's how I'm doing school. But it definitely helped me to find different ways to not be on a screen and still be creative and still have fun and enjoy as much as I can. So definitely what has been said about creativity.
I feel like, yeah, what you said, Luthia, about moving outside of the screen, because now our whole world is inside of this computer. And the way we connect with people is through a little box, which is crazy if you think about it. So like as we moved into our outdoor rehearsals that were social distanced, it gave us like the reassurance that we're not alone and we're not stuck in this computer, that there are still, our community is still out there and they're still with us. But it just offered a lot of support when we moved into that distanced but in-person rehearsals and shooting.
I wanted to follow up on what Rashidi talked about, how he sees the world because he is an artist. But I think that the part of the value of the art that is made is that it suggests maybe to other people different ways of seeing the world, thinking about things, and sparks using our imagination to make art, sparks other people's imagination as they view it. And I think that's essential.
All right. Our closing question for the panelists, I was double checking, we don't have any questions from the chat. We kind of talked about this a little bit, so I guess if you can do like one word or like a short phrase, which I know is always fun to ask a bunch of artistic people, one word or a short phrase. What did this project mean to you? What does it continue to mean to you for those who are still working in it? But I also realized, Sarah, Kyla, can you kind of let us know just before we get into that final question, so it gives everybody a chance to think about your answer, where are we in the process and what happens next?
Glad you asked that question.
Kyla, go.
We are currently wrapping up our screenplay, which is a hybrid of the show that we didn't do, that we reimagined, staged in public, and documentation of this process that everyone keeps talking about. So it shows both things at the same time. And we're finishing up the screenplay, which also means finishing up the editing of some of the raw footage. We're going into our first draft of the film, and we're just gonna keep going from there.
Yeah, we're spending many hours. There's so much exquisite footage, and I don't know if we spoke about this, but really for the month of July, we were in the street multiple times a week, masked, social distanced, doing dances, and that being kind of gritty. And like we showed up at one location, there's like, yeah, too many people, you can't do a shoot here. So we just went in literally in the middle of the street. All right. For the funders, no one was killed during the making of this film either. We were in the street. And because of that, and we talked about sort of the wildness of creativity that happened in this moment, we have like hours and hours and hours and hours of footage that Kyla and I have been poring over and picking moments of. And I tell this to Yoram all the time. I'm like, I curse you for being such a good filmmaker, because it's so hard to choose between this moment and that moment, because there's so much beautiful film. Yeah, you know, he came back for that. to take that. I curse you for being so good. But we're finding those beautiful, exquisite moments, or at least the one that works for the story, and then marrying that footage with the screenplay, which is sort of in reverse in a way, because we started with a script, and we're also using the exquisite words of Marc Bamuthi Joseph, who wrote poetry for the film. And so it's a combination of documentary and visual poetry that includes dance and images. I don't know if you want to add a little bit to that since you came back on camera.
And to what exactly?
Just
the
the question
process
is sort
now?
of like where we are in the process of creating this film.
Right. So this connects back to what Brett was talking about in terms of the project never really leaving us. We're in the middle of post-production right now. So we're very much into the images and into really finding the different threads of the story. And yeah, I think the experience has been just amazing, you know. It's overwhelming. It's hard to put into words, and that's why we're making a film.
I like it. I love a good segue. So, one word or phrase. What did this project mean to you? What does it continue to mean to you? How will you take it into the world? And I'll start with Rashidi because he took his mic off first.
I was ready. And now I forgot my word. Thank you. Here we go. It was possibility. That was the word. Possibility. Possibility.
Kyla.
Everything. It means everything. I'm also going to echo possibility.
Lucia.
Powerful.
Brett.
Relationships.
Risa.
Expansion. I feel expanded.
Yo.
Trust.
Rose.
I was gonna say trust the process, but I feel like it was necessary for everyone involved in the world.
Sarah.
And to join with Risa in that expansiveness, my phrase was expand the circle.
Was not part of this process, but I'm gonna go with create a new circle. Because we're in these boxes, but y'all are my circle. Before we finish up, before we wrap up, I do just want to give some reminders for folks. Registration for 2021 classes for Destiny open on December 18th. That's this Friday. We do have some new offerings. Also, for those of you who are interested in auditioning for the Destiny Junior Company or the Destiny Arts Youth Performance Company next fall, we have a new offering from Rashidi and the other director of the company, Paula. They will be leading a company boot camp. So it is a training opportunity for dancers who are interested in auditioning for company next year. Everything for the right now is virtual, folks, but we continue to create community in this space. Also, we have a TeePublic store. So if you want to get really cute, like masks that say Destiny on them and like t-shirts and stickers and notebooks and like all these things, go to teepublic.com/Destiny-Arts-Center. And we finish things at Destiny the same way. We are going to all put our fists in the middle and I don't know the word. Do you have a word?
I wanted to make one more announcement before we did that, because I hate to do the fist thing and then
have to pull it out.
Like so. So just at the end of this, you're going to see a little trailer for the DAYPC, the Destiny Arts Youth Performance Company, also known as the DAYPC. Episode 1, Catching Up with the Company. It's a teaser. It is live on YouTube. So after this, please go check it out. It's called DAYPC Episode 1, Catching Up with the Company. As part of our pivot during COVID of trying to continue to connect with our community, we decided to record ourselves and put it out there so folks can find us that way, because we miss y'all in person, but we are still with y'all in spirit. So now we can continue.
I also, before we go, want to thank all of our panelists. I appreciate y'all. That teaser was everything. Please watch out for more updates about the black hole. It's going to be dope. All right, fist in the center. And I'm going to go with Rose's word, necessary, because that's what this feels like. This feels very necessary right now. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Necessary. Peace out. Stay tuned for that DAYPC trailer. And thank you all for joining us. Bye.
I dance because I can be myself in motion. I dance because it's a profound form of self-expression and connection with myself and others.
I dance because dance is my escape, because it's my passion. I dance because when I dance, it feels like I'm flying.
I dance because it's my second voice, because it gives me self-expression and perseverance. I dance because it brings me closer to my ancestors.
I dance because it's my outlet and a way to express myself. I dance to let my emotions out in a positive way.
I dance because it makes me feel like my most powerful self, because it is how I can best express myself. I dance because there is no other feeling like it.